Hi, everyone, and welcome to Transfer Chats. Tonight, we are talking about school life balance. So you are going to hear from previous Cabrillo, MPC, and Hartnell students on how they navigated transfer and how they're doing at the university and how they balance school and work and life circumstances and being in COVID and all of that things that we're going through right now. So thank you for being here today. My name is Christina Ortega. I'm an academic counselor at Cabrillo. I also am one of the coordinators for the Transfer Center. And this event, this whole week is put on by MPC, Hartnell, and Cabrillo. So thank you all. We're glad to join all of our community colleges together. And tonight, this event is sponsored by GANAS. And is Carla back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Perfect. I'm going to hand it off to Carla now.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carla Ramirez. I am the GANAS program specialist at Cabrillo College. GANAS is a re-entry program for students who dropped as a result of the pandemic. We provide them with any resources and support that they may need with their transition back to Cabrillo. I am also a Cabrillo alum. I majored in communications and I recently graduated from CSUMB and I majored in humanities and communications. And we also have Sarah, who is the program manager. And Sarah, if you want to introduce yourself as well.
Oh, thank you, Carla. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah here with GANAS. Happy to have you and really excited for all of us to learn from all the transfer students today. So thanks.
Awesome. So we do have 4 panelists here today. And let me share my screen with you all. So the first panelist we have is Rosa Rocha Zamora, and she is from Cabrillo College. She is now at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo and majoring in chemistry. And we also have Tommy Alejandres. He is also from Cabrillo College. He is now at UC Santa Cruz, majoring in Latino American Studies and Sociology. Next, we have Selene Reygosa. She is from Monterey Peninsula College and is now at CSUMB and majoring in psychology. And last, we have Emilia Berumen Zesati. I hope I'm saying that right. She is from Hartnell College and is now at Sacramento State and majoring in sociology with a minor in counseling. And I will stop sharing my screen now so they can all introduce themselves as well. And I will actually drop it down in the chat for the panelists. So you can answer like, where are you from, where you transferred from, even though I know I answered a little bit of that already. And whoever wants to start, go ahead.
I can go ahead. I'm from Soledad, California, and I transferred during the pandemic in 2020, so spring 2020. So I've never actually been on campus, and I'm actually graduating. I petitioned to graduate already, so I'll be graduating this coming spring, and I'm actually looking right now into applying for my master's.
I can go next. Hi, everyone. My name is Selene. I am a former MPC student. I transferred to CSUMB back in fall of 2020. So I should be finishing up hopefully next spring. And plans after graduation, I'm hoping, well, I'm going to be applying to master's program. So that's the goal. If I do decide to take a break, really just focusing on my little kids and, hopefully gonna work for a year and get that hands-on experience and then go for my master's. But happy to be here, and it's nice to see everyone.
Hello, hello, do you hear me? Yeah, okay, great. So my name is Rosa, I'm from Cabrillo, and I just transferred to Cal Poly this fall. So it's like a new whole transition for me, and I hope to graduate on 2023. I really hope that, but I don't think it's like realistically speaking. I think I'm gonna take like another quarter here until 2024, maybe. Okay. I'm so happy to see all of you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tommy Alejandres. I too am from Cabrillo. I live in family student housing here at UCSC. I live here with my 64-year-old dad. So just so you guys know, you can move to student housing with your parents or your little ones. So I don't have any little ones. So prior to living here, my dad was homeless, living on the street. So I helped him get off the streets and we moved in here together. So I transferred here with 3 AS degrees from Cabrillo. And also, I'm studying Latin American Latin studies combined with sociology, minoring in education. And I haven't thought about, well, I've thought about master's program, but I honestly haven't even looked yet, but I definitely want to take a master's program.
Awesome, thank you. So now I will be asking you all questions, and of course, feel free to answer the ones that you want to answer. Hopefully you will all answer them, but yeah, just I will now be asking you questions. So the first one is, what kind of resources did you reach out to at your community college in support of your transfer process?
So for me, at least initially, when I graduated high school back in 2019. And my first 2 years, I was like very like on and off school. So I didn't really look out for help, support. And then I got my act together. And I remember I would go into the student center. I would email Ms. Mercedes like about my like what I needed, what like make appointments. Like I would just go to my counselor. I did a lot of counselor appointments, and that's like where I got most of my help and support.
I'll go next if that's okay. I remember going to the EOPS office and talking to my counselor, and she just turned and looked at me and she said, "It's time for you to go." And I was like, what do you mean it's time for me to go? She goes, "You've been here 5 years. It's time for you to go." I go, "But I like it here." And then it just dawned on me like, but what really? You think I'm good enough to go somewhere like other than here? Mind you, I've also been an ambassador from UC Berkeley's Underground Scholars, which is we work with students who are formerly incarcerated or system impacted. So now I turn to them for assistance and help them with the application. They help me with applications. I'm sorry, I'm nervous to get into the UC. And when I applied, I got into all the UCs that I wanted to. I got into Berkeley, I got into Davis, UCSC, and San Diego. But what really guided me into getting to UCSC is that I also won a $20,000 scholarship that I applied for. So it's just making sure that you're with the right people and that are rooting for you. And most importantly, you have to root for yourself and you have to self-advocate for yourself and know that you're worth it.
I can go next. Do you wanna go, Selene? Okay. So the person I reached out was Christina. I talked to her like almost every single week. Like I know it was a lot, but I think she was there for me. So you have a counselor, you talk to that person. People like Cabrillo really like, they care for us. They really want us to be successful. So in my case, I had Christina, and Christina knows I wouldn't be here without all her help and all her support. And also Kelly Horner, she's the director of MESA program. And what else? Marina too, Marina Ramon. She's the director of, what is the program, Christina? It is Coaches STEM.
Yeah, it was part of one of our STEM 3, it was Title 3 STEM grant.
Okay, yeah, but definitely just reach out to their counselors if you have any question about the process or applications. Yeah, just email them, and any question. Cabrillo is more like a community, and that's what I miss from Cabrillo, that sense of community. And I think that's it.
So if I'm being completely honest with all of you, I kind of winged it my first 2 years at community college, thinking that I knew it all and that I could do everything by myself. No. And I think the biggest mistake I made was not asking questions, because I don't know why. I was just always very shy, but I got introduced to EOPS, and that was so amazing because they really are student support programs. And the difference between like regular counselors is they're not really checking up on you, right? Unless you go reach out for the help yourself. But EOPS, they send you reminders and things like that. So I felt a lot of support coming from them, and they're the ones that encouraged me to, transfer, because I also didn't have plans on transferring, right? And they kind of just give you that encouragement that you need, like, wow, I can do this, right? And you're thinking, I don't know, they just kind of open your eyes and make you realize like you have so much potential. And yeah, so EOPS, amazing program. I love them, and they are the reason why I am where I am today.
Thank you. The next question is, what could have / has helped you academically in your first semester at university?
I think for me, like personally, is connecting with your teachers and asking the questions, being in contact with them, especially since like you're new, so having that guidance really helps out, and like making your study groups, like connecting, getting a community behind you.
For me, finding community, asking questions, like we're here, family student housing, connecting with the neighbors, just picking everybody's brain, like, where's this at? Where's that at? Because you're at a new campus and it's even bigger than what community college is. And then you're seeing, like where I'm at, UCSC, you see the deer, you see the turkeys, you see, you're like in awe, and you're like, ah, and then like brain overload. And then, because back at Cabrillo, I knew where everything was at, like at the back of my hand, but here it's kind of, you have to just step outside of your comfort zone and ask questions.
Yes, I love what Tommy said. The importance of stepping out of your comfort zone. And there's one thing that I heard once, and I always say it: learning to be uncomfortable being uncomfortable, because it's not easy. And I know it's hard, but it really does benefit you and ensures your success as a student. Finding that community, and finding that support from other peers. For me as a first gen student, it's like I'm the first one in my family to do it, and the first one from a lot of my friends to do it. So I can't go to them for questions and answers. So it's important for me to find that community on campus, to find that support on campus, because yeah, it's so important. And if you're not asking the questions, you're not gonna have the answers. So it's important for you to establish that sense of belonging and find where you fit in, and to make sure that you're staying connected with professors and students.
I agree with all with all of you. And also I think that if you love what you're doing, you're going to be able to handle the pressure. Like the difference like you're doing at community colleges, I think it's really small. Like of course you have homework, but I think like at this point everything is really competitive. So I think the first one is to build a community, but sometimes it's really hard to build it in your own. So the thing that I'm doing right now is like, this is what I usually say to myself. I don't need to know all the people. I just need to know just one person, and I stick with that person until that person and I get to pass this class. And this is the way you build your own community, because it's really different from community college to a university. And also, I think the other thing that is helping me to survive this quarter is because I really love chemistry. I didn't realize that. Like right now, I'm turning in like a lab every single day. Like I have to do a pre-lab, a pre-quiz, and then if I have to do a post-lab, and then I have to do a post-quiz, and it's every single day. And it's crazy, but I think if you really love what you're doing, you're not going to feel it. Like you're going to love to be at that level. And that's what I have to say.
I like how you're all talking about community, because that ties in with our next question. How did you find your community at the university?
So I'm still online, so I've only been to campus a few times. So all my learning is done online right now. And I think just getting together, with people that since I made groups, like study groups, and seeing that we had potentially other classes together, and just staying in contact and creating that like friendship and that community, it just helps you a lot navigating through everything. Even though I don't see them physically in person or anything, we're still connected. We're always emailing, texting, like getting together and studying for those classes. So that helps out a lot.
I can go next. I was really lost. I was very fortunate enough to get into the EOP program at my CSU, which helped. It didn't make me feel alone, but more than that, it's like I identified as a student parent, and through networking and meeting people and stepping out of my comfort zone, I found like there's this whole community of student parents, right? That was like very special to me, and even more unique than my transfer, being a transfer student. So yeah, just through talking to people, and you eventually start meeting so many other people that introduce you to so many other people. And I loved it because it was one thing that I never really, not that I didn't notice about myself, but you kind of don't really notice that there's so many student parents out there, right? And it is nice to be able to identify with other students and share similar experiences and share our similar struggles. So yeah, just networking, again, stepping out of your comfort zone is what helped me to find that community on campus.
It's my turn. Okay, go, Danny.
Go ahead.
I think I said part of the way I'm building my community. It's really fun the way I'm building it, because I usually just ask the person that is next to me, hey, would you like to work with me on the homework? And they say yes, and there we go. And this is the way we've been working since the very beginning of the quarter. And this is the way I usually build my community here at Cal Poly. And one other question, the other way is like I'm trying to create a connection with my professor. Like even if I don't have a question, like a really like solid question, I just go and say hi, and somehow they understand that. And yeah, it's been working for me, even just to go and say hi to your professors.
For me, I connected with the STARS program over here. It's called the Service Transfer for Reentry Students. They connect with like the Renaissance Scholars, people that are being like in the foster care, underground scholars, people who've been formerly incarcerated or system impacted, the Veterans Center. Yeah, and then I also got a job on campus 10 hours a week as an outreach coordinator for the underground scholars. So next week I'll be doing 8 presentations at Cabrillo, 5 of them in person, 3 over Zoom, and then also connecting with the Watsonville campus, and just basically just spreading the knowledge that just because you have a record doesn't mean that you can't go get higher education. As a matter of fact, today I had court this morning via Zoom in Fresno County, even though I live in Santa Cruz, and I got all of my cases expunged. There's this program called Clean Slate cleanslate.org. And if you have no violent record, they'll clean everything for you. So it took about 1.5 years to do, and today, all done today. Clean slate.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Tommy. The next question is, how are you balancing having a job, campus life, and academics?
So
For me, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
are you sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so for me at least, I do work a full-time job, and I believe like having that flexibility that I am able to take my classes online, and a lot of them are asynchronous, so there's not a specific time where I meet. That does help me manage my work schedule with my school life and my personal life. So I think it's just like finding that balance. Like, don't overwork yourself. Like, if you know that you have to work and you have to go to school, don't overcommit yourself to so many classes, because from my experience that like when I was in community college, I did that. I took the maximum amount of classes and I was working full time, and it just like it drains you. Like, it just physically drains you. It's just like finding your limits and just like having that balance. Like, taking self care. Your self care is a lot more important than your education. So just take it one day at a time, and just like just know that yeah, your education is important, but your health, your well-being is so much more.
For myself, I had to take a step back and reevaluate everything, because the whole time I was at Cabrillo, I was a full-time student. And I talked it over with one of my professors. I felt a little overwhelmed taking care of my parent, my dad, school, working, and she suggested going part-time. And I was like, part-time? What does that even mean? Like, because that's like something new, because I've always been a full-time student. But I went ahead and I applied for part-time, and I found it a lot easier. It's going to take me a little bit longer to graduate, but it's okay because it's working out for me. I'd rather have better grades on the 2 classes than have all my grades go down. And also, I got time for my dad, and I got time for myself. Um, like I agree with I don't know the lady's name, Emilia, but I agree with her. Self-care. Make sure you take time out for yourself. Don't overexert yourself. It's not worth it.
Yes, I can add on to that. It's definitely a work in progress. I think it's one of those things where you kind of have to just get your feet wet and see what works for you and what doesn't. For me, this semester, I put way too much on my plate. I started a new internship, and I also work on campus as a peer mentor for the Transfer Student Success Center. And I have 2 little girls under the age of 4, and it was a lot for me. So it was something that I tested out, and I kind of just had to take a step back and say, Selene, you're doing way too much. Something has to go, right? For me, I chose to stay working on campus because they understand my student life, and they also know I'm a parent. So to them, that's always more important, right? And the little things that I get to do on campus is enjoyable. I love working with students, and engaging in that campus community that is also very important for my student success. But yeah, you kind of just have to find what works and not feel guilty about it, right? Because I think that's another thing that comes with all of that is you want to do it all, but you have to set boundaries with yourself, and like everyone else mentioned, not put too much on your plate. And it's okay to say no, right? Because at the end of the day, you're putting your mental health on the line, and if you're not okay, everything else kind of falls apart. So yes, setting boundaries and just finding what works for you.
I would like to add that a little bit more. If you feel like you're not yourself, right? If you feel like you're getting tired, just take a break. It's okay. And then do not compare your journey with someone else. So it's your future, and it's just yours. It's your responsibility. And the other thing is your health is really important. So it's you have to prioritize yourself and then everything else. If you're not feeling good, like there is no way you're going to develop a really good job in the other things. So I totally agree with that. And yeah, that's all I can say.
Thank you. And yes, I agree. Self-care, take your time, just make sure that you're okay, because then that also like projects to your academics and everything else. So the last question that I have for you all is, what is one piece of advice you would share with future transfer students?
Just to get involved. Campus involvement is so important, and I wish I would have started earlier, because now I'm like, oh, I have such little time left, right? Because you think you have all these years, but it flies by in a quickness, and I don't think there's any time like your undergrad time. So get involved, and like I said, it just, you meet all these wonderful people, and it opens the door to all of these amazing opportunities, to jobs, or just networking is so important. So step out of your comfort zone, even though it might be scary. You get over that fear once you're out and doing things that you enjoy doing and meeting new people. So yeah, step out of your comfort zone. Everyone.
Yeah, I would agree with Leonard. It just connect with people, meet new people, and they'll give you even more opportunities. You'll find new opportunities where you can prosper, whether she's like how she said, in a job, personally. It's connect with people. Talk to your classmates, your teachers, your professors, your counselors. Just communicate and talk to them.
First and foremost, believe in yourself. Because a lot of times we doubt ourselves. We don't think that we're smart enough. We always think the other person's better. But you know what? We're smart. We are smart. You are smart. You're here. You're doing it. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have some tough nights. But you'll get through it. And then pretty soon you'll look past it. You're like, man, I can't believe I used to think that way about myself, because I'm 47 and I guess I'm considered a junior here. And then I see these other 17 and 18-year-olds here at UCSC, and I know not to compare myself with them. I grew up different than they did. Everybody's story is different. So you're exactly where you're supposed to be. So don't think that you're far behind. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And I agree with get connected. If there's an event going on, Halloween event, Thanksgiving event, whatever kind of event, and you like what's going on, you like what they're doing, find out who's throwing it, and maybe you can get a job through them. Work on campus, because when you work on campus, a lot of times you're not really working, you're just doing your homework and getting paid to do your homework. That's a secret, don't tell nobody. But yeah, I mean, get involved in get in the student club, go on student body, get involved. That's all I can tell you is get involved.
And I just have one more thing. Be careful of your FAFSA. Like how much of your FAFSA have you used at community college level? Just be careful with it. So you don't. I don't want you to stress out like in the same way I'm doing it right now, because I almost use all my FAFSA at Cabrillo, and I just stopped of using it because of Christina. Christina told me that I have to use so I can to be able to save some of it for my university. Just be careful with that. And yeah.
I agree with all of you as well. Very good answers. Just to give you all a little bit more of a background on me, I also worked when I was a student at Cabrillo. So I worked like for 3 different departments there. Then I worked for 2 different departments at CSUMB. And through those like networking is how I got contacted for the position I'm in now and got a job so quickly, like after graduating. So yes, networking, keeping those connections too, like, you know, check in with people who you've met because they'll remember you. So definitely agree with all of you. Very great advice. I did see there are a few questions in the chat. I think the first one is for Selene. So it says, it's from Wendy. It says, for the one with kids, how did you handle it? And also being a parent. I have two and I'm a single mom, and I feel like sometimes I can't do it, especially with this pandemic.
Well, the difference between me and you, I'm not a single mom, so I don't know what it's like, but I always say I'm kind of like a single mom because my partner does work long hours and I'm always alone with the kids. Um, it's hard. Sometimes, you know, I have to ask my friends if they can help me with the kids, or, you know, my mom helps where she can. So I just definitely encourage you to, you know, if there's people that are around you that you trust, to ask for help, because as student parents, it's really important for us to have that support around us. And just, I know it's hard, but finding that balance, and just making sure that you're taking care of yourself, which I know is also hard with kids, but if, you know, if your mind's not right, kind of everything else just feels like it's going wrong. But yeah, just find support. And if you have friends, family, lean on them, ask for help, and, you know, try to find that community on campus as well. I know everything's kind of hard right now being virtually, but stay connected to the campus or talk to other students. I know sometimes that's where I always find my motivation, because there's days where I'm like, I feel like dropping out, like it's too hard for me, you know, and I go cry to one of my campus friends and they're like, no, Selene, like you've made it this far, it's okay, like hang in there, like you got this. So it's sometimes it's just nice hearing those words of motivation, and yeah, just ask for help.
Selena, I have a follow-up question. Are there any support resources at your university that kind of helped you with being a parent and also managing going to university?
During my first semester, I was kind of clueless about everything, but like I said, I got connected with other student parents, and right now we're starting to just build this big community with student parents, and we're in the works of getting a family-friendly study room in the library so we can bring our kids. So it's like a work in progress, right? But you know, if you can talk to your campus and, you know, try to fight for those things on campus, it's not an easy thing, but right, building that community with student parents has really helped me. And one thing that I also like to do is like once a month, do like a virtual like get together, check in with student parents. And it might not be much, but even just getting together and just talking about our similar struggles is empowering, right? We kind of just sit there and vent, and we kind of laugh, like, look at us, like, you know, sometimes we're a hot mess, but we're doing it, right? So yeah, just building that community is very important. And I think it has helped me a lot.
And also, Rosa, were you a student parent as well? Oh, no.
No.
Okay. So the next question is from Victor, and it says, for students that are more on the introverted side, what's one tip you'd give them to help increase community and a sense of belonging?
I can answer that real quickly. The first thing that I always did was I started to unmute myself to ask questions. And I know it seems like what, but yeah, it's like little things like turning on my camera, unmuting myself. At the beginning of every semester, I always reach out to my professors, like even if I don't have questions, right? I'm like, oh, hi, my name's Selene, I'm a student parent. You know, I kind of just try to establish that relationship with them. But yeah, it's like little things like especially being virtual, that is like the one way that I was like stepping out of my comfort zone slowly, like turn on my camera, let people see my face, even though it's scary. But it starts off with little habits like that that help you step out of your comfort zone. And And trust me, I know, because I was always that student. I was like, go to class, go home. I don't want anyone to talk to me. I don't want nobody to see me. But when you're at a CSU, that campus involvement is really important, and you want to build and establish relationships with people because, you know, especially if you're planning on going to grad school, you need those recommendation letters and things like that. So.
Another question is, being that academics are in hybrid, are there any apps or online tools that you utilize for balanced school/life?
The only thing I really use honestly is my Google Calendar. It comes in really, really handy, putting my classes and then my work meetings and even my dad's doctor appointments. I block off, just making sure, because I have to have boundaries. If not, because I like to say yes to everybody, and I learned that I can't say yes to everybody, because then that means I'm just not taking time for myself also. So I need to block off time for myself.
I'm sorry, Carla, what was the question?
It was, being that academics are in hybrid, are there any apps and or online tools that you utilize for balancing school/life?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Tommy. I live on Google Calendar, Google Docs, Google everything, and everyone around me does too. And that's kind of what helps me. I'm more of a write everything down kind of person. So yes, I have my Google Calendar, but I also have like a whiteboard and a notebook that I'm always looking at. But apps, I'm not sure about apps. I haven't found one yet, but yeah, like Google is such a lifesaver. So if you don't know how to use it, hop onto YouTube, look at tutorials, because it's a game changer.
Yeah, how we mentioned previously, I write everything down. I don't rely so much on Google Calendar. I actually have like an actual like this calendar agenda that you would get like that they give you in high school, like or you can get them at the Walmart or whatever. And I write everything down. I have to have everything organized, like personal appointments, academic. I put all my deadlines down just so I know when things are due, and just make sure you're always checking up on yourself, like keeping track of what you need to get done and when it needs to get done, because deadlines come by so fast. It can pile up sometimes.
I'm with you, Emily. I don't know how to use Google, Google Calendar. So what I have is like a to-do list, get it done. And I just live like day by the day. It's just like, I cannot see, like I can't schedule things like a week ahead. I just like to get done one day at a day. It's just that way it works for me. And then if you know how to use Google Calendar, and if Google Calendar works for you, just do it and keep doing it. You just have to find a thing that works for you. And yeah, I don't know about other apps, but I think Google is one. And then just write down everything, a to-do list. And then if you have like agenda or something, a whiteboard works too, just to write down what you have to do. Yeah, okay.
And I know Sarah dropped it in the chat, but oh, we have another question. And it's for Tommy. Any advice or tips on how to apply for student and family housing for UC Santa Cruz?
I honestly forgot how I applied. Well, actually, I had Section 8, and that's another thing. Student housing takes Section 8. So I don't have to. My regular rent would have been $16.97, but now my rent's only like $3.84. So just so you know, they do take Section 8. Oh, well, you just get in contact with the, what's it called? Just go to the UCSC website and then the search, put family student housing, and they'll connect you with the application. Yeah. Oh, and don't forget, the applications for the UCs are due by the 30th of November, guys. It's coming up pretty soon.
So another question is, for those with different learning styles, how hard is the quarter system?
I can answer that. I have learning disabilities, and I thought I was not going to get my accommodations because of COVID. And then when I was getting tested at Cabrillo, I didn't get all my testing because of COVID. But and then my counselor, like she called the director at here at Cal Poly, and I'm getting accommodations. And I think like it's just like Cabrillo, like it's quickly, but your professors are like open mind and they're able to help you. They are willing to help you. They're really approachable, and I don't know how to explain it because I'm getting accommodations, and it's just one of my professors, like my accommodation was not working and she changed it like without getting like a paper done. She just did it because of me, and you just have to talk to your professors. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
It does move rather fast. 10 weeks versus 18 weeks. Like right now, we're like right in the middle of our quarter right now. Midterms are due like this Friday. But there is support here on campus. There's all kinds of support. There's different people hitting you up. You're getting bombarded with emails from the UC with support, with if you need this kind of tutor or that kind of tutor or this kind of tutor. It's like you get like 50 emails a day from the UC. So it's crazy, but it's kind of annoying, all the emails, but I'm grateful for it. I gotta take that back. I'm really grateful that they actually care.
Can I say one more thing? And also the advantage of a career system is if you don't like your professor, you just get done that class like this. So you don't have to handle like 18 weeks. That's the advantage of career system.
So we did have another question. They asked, what resources do they have for undocumented students at universities?
So, I'm not a dreamer, but I have friends who are at SAC, and they do mention that there's a Dreamers Resource Center, and I just think depending on the campus here, the center names is different, but I know there is like organizations, groups, and specific programs for undocumented students. It just depends on the university you're going to. Just researching about it and getting connected with those services or those individuals in charge of those programs.
So I actually do know the answer to this because I worked for the Undocu Success program when I was in my first year at CSUMB. And so at least there, I know they have, a whole program. They provide the students with resources, if they need like emergency grants for renewing their DACA, help for AB 540, the DREAM Act, and a lot of CSUs, and even like at Cabrillo, we have like free legal services. So that is a thing as well. So you can, again, get help applying for your DACA, your DREAM Act. And the cool thing is that a lot of the times, like, it's not just for you, but also for your family. So your parents, a lot of people have mixed status families. So there is support. A lot of schools do also have clubs. At CSUMB, there's the Undocuwaters and Allies Club. There's also Mecha. So there's a lot of like, support as well. And they help you like find resources like to fund your school as well. Oh, that's a good question. Any advice or tips on how to apply for a financial aid or scholarship as an international student for UC Santa Cruz? Is that possible? Right now, I'm doing my best to pay Cabrillo, but in the future, I want to transfer, so I want to find help to pay the international fee, which is a lot for me.
The best bet would be to contact the financial aid office here at UCSC, being that they deal with financial, I mean, your financial aid.
I think Tommy said this a little bit earlier, but regarding scholarships, it's never too early to start researching and looking at scholarships, even if you're not, at the point of transfer, but like looking at the dates and deadlines, how many letters or recommendations that you need. There's so much money out there. And what I hear from scholarship committees a lot is we didn't have any students apply. We didn't have enough applicants. So definitely do a lot of research. Cabrillo has a lot of resources, and I know that MPC and Hartnell does as well. And actually tomorrow night is all about financial aid at the university and scholarships. So I hope you guys can join us tomorrow night as well.
And to piggyback off of that, all three of these schools, one person at that school is going to get a $20,000 scholarship. I was the recipient of last year's Cabrillo's. So it's called the Pester Scholarship, Carl S. Pester. So don't forget to apply for that. Someone's got to win it. I didn't think I had a chance, but I applied, and I got it. So $20,000 goes a long way, guys.
I think we have time for maybe like one more question.
Well, I'll go ahead and type it in the chat.
I have something real quick about the scholarships. Depending on where you work at, like big corporate companies, like I know Walmart, like Starbucks, McDonald's, they offer some kind of tuition assistance. For example, when I first started in Cornell and PCC, I did go for a little bit. They would help me with tuition assistance. So you would give them a copy of your transcript, and the actual McDonald's headquarters would write out a check payable to the school for that amount of your tuition, whatever it was, to a certain extent, to a certain amount. So just look up wherever if you are working, look at those companies that do offer tuition or scholarships.
I've gotten about 10 different scholarships since being at Cabrillo. Even I won like a $500 Martin Luther King one. I applied for one for as women's with something, I can't remember what it was. Even if you don't meet the guidelines, they still have to give the money to somebody, and no one's applying to them. So apply. But the worst case can happen is you don't get anything, but I mean, more than likely you're going to win something. The odds are the more you apply to more of them, you're going to win something, and it's free money.
And this is for scholarships. Oh, okay. We'll keep in mind. Thank you all for sharing.
Okay, so just one last question. Any tips on how to prepare for midterms and finals? Also, have your studying strategies changed since transferring to university?
I would just depending on your professor who you get, they usually give out some kind of study guide. Just take really good notes. I do have some professors right now that you have no assignments, and the for error. So just make sure you're studying and you're taking, don't miss class, take notes, and just make that time and effort to dedicate certain days prior to studying. Get together with your friends, make study groups, go to the library, reach out to your professor if you need clarification, because at the end of it is hard at times, but you just need to put in the work.
Yeah, for me, I have little ones, so I have to be very, very careful with how I, use my time. I'm like, okay, today I am gonna be alone for 2 hours. I'm gonna study and have my phone away from me, no distractions, be in an environment that's gonna have me relaxed and focused. Also go to your professor's office hours. They always encourage it, and they really do want you to succeed. So if you have any questions or concerns, or you're not understanding something or the material, ask them for help, email them, set up a Zoom meeting, because those are the things that they want from you. And sometimes, like, you bomb something and they're like, oh, well, you didn't ask for help, so we figured you didn't need it, right? So professors are so understanding, especially at CSUMB. They're always encouraging it, so please take advantage of it. I know at bigger universities it's sometimes harder to find that connection with professors, but if they're offering it, go make those connections. And sometimes it's hard because you're like, oh, I want to go out or do something. But, if you have finals or midterms, you're going to have to sacrifice that social life, at least for that week, to make sure that you are prepared. Because if you're doing everything last minute, you're just going to probably stress yourself out, cry at night, and, do things slowly, like 2-3 weeks before, so you can be prepared.
And
Yeah.
Cassandra, did you have a question? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So I'm in MPC, but my counselor told me about these meets, and I'm thankful that you guys let me join. And as to what she was saying about the instructors, the office hours at MPC, I personally struggle a lot trying to make Zoom meets because I've gotten ignored. But it's really good to hear that at universities they're more supportive.
And also, Cassandra,
That gives me hope. Thank you for sharing.
also, if you can't, if your professors don't have the time, also there's a lot of like learning centers, writing centers where you can get help from like upper graduate students or even graduate students that will take the time to help you, whether it be your math, your English, sociology, just to get those concepts of writing. So there's a lot of resources and programs that you can look into depending on the university you choose to go to that offer a lot of academic support.
Awesome. Good to know.
Another thing I learned at Cabrillo to do here is that I sit in the front of the class. That way the teacher knows who you are, because when they're grading your paper and you're like on that borderline also of that A or B, if you're in class, I don't know about virtual, but if it's virtual, I recommend always going to office hours and letting them recognize. Don't always just have your camera on. Let them know that you're being involved. And then I'm not sure at CSUMB or the CSUs how they are, but here with the class, you have to take a discussion class. So it's like another class outside of a class. And this you're meeting with the teacher's aide. So that I didn't know about that. I thought it was just going to be just the professor, but here you actually work with the teacher's aide who's the eyes and ears to the professor. So again, you have to always be involved and advocate for your grade.
Yeah, that's very true.
I would like to jump in on that. One of the best pieces of advice I was ever given when I was in college was that it's very hard for the professor to, and I'm an instructor now, so I know this, it's hard to fail a student you like and you know is trying. So get up in the front of the room, go to office hours, and the likelihood of you failing that class, even if you're not doing well, is low.
And just quickly to like add what Emilia was saying, join a support program, at CSUMB, I was part of TRIO, and that really helped me during my transition at the university. And just join any support program or club. There is Tau Sigma, which is a National Honor Society for transfer students, which I was also a part of, and research the schools that you're interested in and what support they have for you. And also office hours. I cannot stress this enough. Join your professor's office hours, especially right now where it's like virtual and in person. A lot of them, students don't always join, so they get really happy when you do end up joining. And like Sarah said, like it's hard for them to fail you if they know you're trying.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just a little bit of
I
advice.
just want to say one more thing before we end. Also, all of our schools, we're paying for our health, right? At the health center. So I know Cabrillo, I believe you get 3 free therapy sessions. That if you're getting overwhelmed and you need to connect with the therapist or the nurse, it's if you just need to talk to somebody, and no one's listening to you, for sure they'll listen to you right there, and they'll connect you with the right resources. Or if you're just having a really messed up day and you just
Can't handle
I've
it.
had days like that. I've had days where just like where everything go wrong, and I just went into one resource center and they saw how bad the day was for me, and they connected me with so and so, and they connected with so and so, and they got me to the right place. So don't ever be afraid to ask for help. No question is a dumb question. I mean, you hear that all the time, and it's true. You just got to ask.
Yeah. It's really good to know. Thank you for sharing.
I did want to just share with you all the rest of the events that we have going for the rest of this week's transfer chats. So tomorrow is the university affordability, which I know they mentioned already previously, but just learn about financial aid at the university and scholarship resources. And on Thursday will be the support network. So you'll get to hear from UC Santa Cruz, San Jose State University, and California State University Monterey Bay representatives, and hear about services that will support your successful transition to the university. Again, it'll be at the same time as today. And if you look at the flyer, you can register there as well. And also contact us. I will drop the links to the transfer services email and website in the chat, and then also for the Ganas reentry program, in case you know anyone that is wanting to return to college and wants to come back to Cabrillo.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Carla. You did a wonderful job moderating. Let's give her a round of applause or some snaps. Thank you so much to our panelists and sharing your stories and being vulnerable and just really helping our next class of transfer and showing that you can do it and that you did it. And we are so proud of you. And it's so good to see all of you. And I hope that you continue to keep Cabrillo in your heart. And those of you that came tonight, thank you so much. And we are so excited about your transfer. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Hi, thank you for sharing. This is really helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank